Right about that. She was thrilled to have it because this is a collection of poems, and one of them in particular is to her, and he has an illustrated with pen and ink sketches, and the entire text is hand done, hand lettered.
What do you call that script?
Well, it's more or less the old-fashioned German script. There's so many variations on this that hasn't been difficult to read at all. But for example, an S does not look like our S. A few letters that are decidedly different. And I could read them, but they're the one.
This is a copy. Was it done in color?
No, he didn't have color. This is all black and white. And he was, in one of the letters, was expressing an appreciation for the black ink I had sent him.
Jars of ink?
Mm-hmm. India ink.
I'm going to have to turn off the camera first.
With her husband, they came and stayed 3 weeks after.
Mm-hmm.
So there's different ones that came after the wall came down. I was happy to have them, you see.
So what was the feeling about when the wall came down?
Oh, such a relief. Well, for instance, when I was there for 2 weeks, I stayed one night with that doctor who got me from the first place. I stayed 5 days. He took me down there to Bautzen, which is a larger city south of Hoyersfeld. It's all on a line straight on down from Berlin. But I'm not telling you this for necessarily has to be put around there. But anyway, what I'm getting to is what it means when you get up there, checkpoint Charlie, to get back on the other side, how that feels when you leave them and they can't go through the gate just because you're American and just because they're who they are, they cannot get out. You know, we just don't have that concept anywhere.
No,
But of course, it's been broken now. And our president, I think, is more responsible than anybody. You know, Reagan said, Gorbachev pull that wall down. And the things that people, did you ever read the story about that tunnel they dug under the wall and how many went through there? Life's death, you know, at risk of life.
I'd heard some stories about it, but go ahead and tell us.
Well, I just read it once in Life magazine, I think, carried a story of it.
I believe that's probably
there's just so many people that went to utter lengths to get back or get through there, and the families were separated. I mean, there were many families separated by the wall being put up, and it was put up when my aunt, my father's brother's wife, was over there with the youngest daughter, visiting the Wildes in Berlin when they started putting that wall up. She's passed away now, but she's told me that when she knew that wall was going, she said, "We're getting out of here."
When did the wall go up?
In '61. So from 61 to 1989, that those two parts of Germany were separate, and you could not fly high over the Russian zone. That was the Russian zone, but inside the Russian zone was this island that was Berlin, and that was carved into part for British and American and Russian.
It's unusual that, I mean, obviously the wall was highly symbolic, but it was also very tangible. It was, you know.
Absolutely. I mean, and you'd see, you know, it was on one side of the, you could see over, you see there's a church, or you can't get to it because the big stone wall, just ugly.
I saw it, you know,
Yeah.
I was there in 1970.
Did you see it when they had a little museum there to show how people cramped themselves into a little Volkswagen or something like that and got over there?
Oh, yeah, it was,
Like
again,
they
it was,
put themselves in a suitcase and get somebody to put the suitcase on a train, and you'd hear such weird things.
well, I was surprised that it did, you know, I figured that wall was, you know, had gone up in World War II or sometime
No,
much earlier when it was, you know, just at the beginning of the 60s.
No, they were losing them. But I felt so, it's hard to say how I felt, you know, when they took me up. So this essentially was one family that had 5 members, 2 sisters and 3 brothers, that plus one other man who obviously was a doctor. He also had their same name, but he was not closely related. But I had met him before too, and I had corresponded with his mother. She had been a teacher, and so I just enjoyed all those years that I was getting letters and writing letters, and then to get over there and see it, you know, was a big thrill to me.
I'm sure it was. I'm sure it was. I'm going to turn this off. So I will rescan these pictures. I'm just taking a picture of them on the table. And what is the significance of these pictures?
Well, these were taken in 1982, 100 years after our grandparents had come over here, and we were going around visiting all of them that we could get to. That Bob, who is this one right here. This is Bob Robinson, right here. This is Bob Robinson, and this is Frida Keller, and this is Lotte Ginther, and this is Agnes. Well, this is another family, you see. And these are all descendants of my grandmother's sister who stayed in Germany.
So these are Sfars. These are Sfars.
They're descended from the Twar family. Yes. This one happened to be from these people's name is Hensel, but they are part of the Twar family.
So this was the trip you took with Bob Robinson
And his mother, in 1982.
And where was this church?
This is in Gross Postwitz. Those are identical, I think. Well, not quite identical. But I attended a church service there with some of the relatives twice. two different